Hello and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information come from the Smart Device application, Today in History, What Happened Today in History, Historical Calendar, and the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else potentially interesting that we gather throughout the show, check the underbar of the description below. Anyway, I am A.O. Xander, and today is Woden's Day, aka Odin's Day, aka Wednesday, June 15th, 2022. Let's see here. What starts off here in the year 1094? Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, or El Cid, occupied Valencia on the Morin. Alright. 1215, King John signed the Magna Carta at Runnymede near Windsor, England. Interesting. See, lower my volume a little bit right there. I'm not sure if you're getting double audio or what. So, I don't get audio playback. I can just see myself. Anyway, 1219, Dannebrog in the flag of Denmark and the oldest national flag in the world. According to legend, it fell from the sky during the Battle of Lyndanis, now Tallinn, in Estonia, and turned the Danes' luck. All the way back to 1219, so there were no country flags before then, allegedly. Oh, that's interesting. 1626, King Charles I disbanded the English Parliament. That sounds like the actions of a dictator right there. 1775, George Washington was appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army the day after the Congress established the force. So that's interesting. So, roughly 24 hours, the Army had no leader, but now it did, and it forever, there must always be a Lich King, 1802, Toussaint Louverture left Haiti, a prisoner on French ship Héros. Interesting. Look at that guy, he has like a bean head. A really round head right there. 1842, John C. Fremont set off from Kansas River on his first expedition of the Oregon Trail with frontierman Kit Carson as his guide. 2 years later, in 1844, Charles Goodyear patented the vulcanization of rubber. Dang. 1862, Confederate General J.E.B. Stuart completed his ride around McClellan. So Jeb Stuart, J.E.B. What's his name? James Ewell Brown, or Jeb Stuart. 1864, the Battle of Petersburg began as General Ulysses S. Grant assaulted the Confederate line at the important southern rail center of Petersburg. 1864 as well, Robert E. Lee's home area, which is Arlington, Virginia. That's where the Arlington National Cemetery is. Actually, that all used to be, the whole cemetery used to be his whole plantation. So, anyway, it became a military cemetery. Look at that, 1864. So, but didn't the Civil War ended in 1865? So, I guess even when the war was going on, we made that a cemetery. I don't know. Nothing is absolute, but that's a pretty bold move right there. What if we lost the land, 1877, Henry Osian Flipper became the first black U.S. citizen to graduate from West Point Military Academy. Nice. In 1878, the world's first moving pictures were caught on camera using 12 cameras, each taking one photo, each. This was done to see if all 4 of a horse's hooves left the ground. And yes, they do. That'd be interesting. Like, what do they think? It just dragged along the ground or something? Or actually, no, maybe if all 4 were off the ground while running, which, frame 2 and 3 looks like they do. So, in 1888, Wilhelm II became Emperor of Germany. We all know how that one turned out, 1906, the British opens men's golf in Muirfield. Scotsman James Braid successfully defended title by 4 strokes from J.H. Taylor of England, his 3rd Open victory. Yeah. Jumping on up into the we've already jumped into the 1900s. Well, 1907, researcher George Soper published the results of his investigation into recent typhoid outbreaks in the New York area and announced that Mary Mallon, or Typhoid Mary, is a likely source of the outbreak. women, you know. 1916, Boeing Model 1, the B&W seaplane, the first Boeing product, flied for the first time. Let's see what this thing looks like here. No, I didn't want William Boeing. Boeing Model 1. Why is it not telling me? Okay, well, let's see here. Let's just open up Google. Boeing Model 1. See what this thing looks like. Oh, I see. It's a really boxy body right there. Interesting. And yeah, I'm gonna... Let's add this into the underbar just for hotkeys, because I have not really added things to the underbar, so I just want to. Moving on up, let's see here, what else? 1921, Bessie Coleman earned her pilot's license in France, becoming the first black U.S. citizen female and Native American to hold one. I don't know why they had to put the fact that she's black before the Native American. You know, we've done far worse to those people. You know, it's not like we went to Africa and colonized that place. Manifest destiny all over Africa, no. Yeah, well, you know, I guess because of slavery, Africans get everything. Whatever. 1923, British Open Men's Golf, Royal Troon GC. Englishman Arthur Havers hold a bunker shot on the 72nd hole to win his only major title, one stroke ahead of defending champion Walter Hagen. 1924, the Ford Motor Company manufactured its 10 millionth automobile. Dang, 10 million by 1924. Also in 1924, J. Edgar Hoover assumed the leadership of the FBI. I think this is the guy that someone's talked to me about a couple times with that child actress and gave her pepper spray in a bottle or something, I don't know. 1926, the 7th French government of Aristide Briand fell. Well, that's not good. 2 years later, 1928, Philadelphia Athletics baseball star Ty Cobb stealed home for a record 54th time. Wow. Dang. 1931, Eddie Collins and Harry Heilman retired from baseball. Alright. In 1947, during the U.S. Open Men's Golf and St. Louis Country Club, Lou Warsham defeated Sam Snead by one stroke in an 18-hole playoff for his only major title. 1 year later, in 1948, in his Farewell Ashes tour, Don Bradman was out for a duck, 0 in the Austrian second innings, but tourists won first test against England by 8 wickets at Nottingham. I have no idea what I just read. Like, it seems like the fever dream of a madman. 1951, Joe Louis scored his last knockout victory. Oh. 1955, the Eisenhower administration staged the first annual Operation Alert, or OPAL, exercise in an attempt to assess the USA's preparation for a nuclear attack. Yeesh. Duck and cover. You know, remember, kids, like, you know, if you have something above your head, you know, the nukes can't hurt you. Duck and cover. Woo. 1957, during the 89th Belmont, Bill Schumacher aboard the Gallant Man won in 2 minutes 26.6 seconds. This is jockey, so aboard Gallant Man. So not riding Gallant Man, aboard. Like, you're making a horse sound like a boat, you know. Also in 1957, Yanks trade Billy Martin and Ralph Terry for Ryan Duran. Huh. 3 years later, in 1960, Angel Cordero Jr. won his first of over 7,000 horse races. Wow. 1960 as well, Argentina complained to the United Nations about Israeli illicit transfer of Eichmann. Well, Israel does what Israel does. 1960 as well, The Apartment, a movie directed by Billy Wilder and starring Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine, premiered in New York City. It went on to win the Academy Awards Best Picture in 1961. 1963, Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein II's musical The Sound of Music closed at Luntfontein Theater, New York City, after 1,443 performances. It's a lot of performances. 1963 as well, Israeli Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion resigned. Oh my God, he looks like Bernie Sanders. You know that bird that looks like Bernie Sanders? He looks like the bird. Wow. 1965, Bob Dylan recorded single Like a Rolling Stone, which was the #1 in Rolling Stone magazine's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. 1965 as well, Detroit pitcher Danny McLean in relief strikes out first 7 batters, faced and recorded 14. And record 14 in 6 2/3 of an inning in Tigers' 6-5 win over the Boston Red Sox. Bill Freehan tied catcher record of 19 putouts. 1967, Governor Reagan signed liberalized California abortion bill. Ay. Also, 1967, The Dirty Dozen, based on E.M. Nathanson's novel, directed by Robert Aldrich and starring Lee Marvin, Ernest Borgnine, and Charles Bronson, was released in the U.S. 1968, John Lennon and Yoko Ono planted 2 acorns for peace at Coventry Cathedral, Coventry, England. I wonder if those trees are still there. 1917, during the LPGA Championship Women's Golf at the Pleasant Valley CC Country Club, Shirley Englehorn won her only major title, beating 1967 champion Kathy Whitworth by 4 strokes in an 18-hole playoff. 1973, Let's Get It On, a single released by Marvin Gaye, later went on to be the Billboard Rhythm and Blues Song of the Year in 1973 and the #4 overall. Yeah. 1 year later, in 1974, French Open women's tennis, U.S. teenager Chris Evert beat Olga Morozova of Russia 6-1 and 6-2 for first of a record 7 French single titles. Also in 1974, All the President's Men by Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward, detailing their Watergate investigation, was published by Simon & Schuster in the U.S. Also in 1974, Back Home Again, the 8th studio album by John Denver, was released, later to win the Billboard Album of the Year in 1975. Speaking of 1975, it saw the French Open men's tennis. Sweden's Bjorn Borg retained his title. He defeated Guillermo Vilas of Argentina 6-2, 6-3, 6-4. Wow, 6-6-6 right off the bat. This guy's a devil. 1977, New York men's trade Tom Seaver for they traded Tom Seaver to the Reds for Pat Zachary. Yeah, I'm sorry I read that horribly. I'm still on, like, how did this guy get to be so skillful? Maybe he did do a deal with the devil. I mean, that's literally the number of the beast right there. So, anyway, 1983, Cards traded Keith Hernandez to the Mets for Neil Allen and Rick Owenby. Wow, like, you want to talk about slavery right there? I mean, yeah, they're getting paid millions and millions of dollars, but they're being traded like commodities, and in some cases, one person is worth multiple people. You can't tell me that's not human trafficking. Come on. 1983, Blackadder, the TV comedy, premiered starring Rowan Atkinson and Tony Robinson, and written by Richard Curtis and Rowan Atkinson on the BBC One. 1 year later, in 1984, U.S. boxer Thomas Earns retained WBC light middleweight title with a 2-round knockout of Roberto Duran of Panama at Caesars Palace, Las Vegas. This marked the first time in his illustrious career Duran knocked out. Dang. 1 more year later, in 1985, Pinklin Thomas knocks out Mike Weaver in 8 for heavyweight boxing title. Dang, I do not want to fight that man. That's frightening. 1986, Amnesty International's Conspiracy of Hope tour concluded with mega concert at Giant Stadium in Rutherford, New Jersey. The participants included U2, Sting, Bryan Adams, Peter Gabriel, Lou Reed, Neville Brothers, Joan Baez, Joan Armatrading, Joni Mitchell, The Police, Jackson Browne, Yoko Ono, Miles Davis, Peter, Paul, and Mary, and the Hooters. Wow, that's one hell of a concert right there. 1986, Pravana announced high-level Chernobyl staff fired for stupidity. Good. In 1990, Dick Tracy with Warren Beatty and Madonna premiered. 1997, British model Naomi Campbell was hospitalized due to drug overdose. Is anybody in here? I can't tell. Nope. Alright. 1998, the 32nd Music City News Country Awards. Neil McRoy, Lori Morgan, and Billy Ray Cyrus won. 2001, during the NBA Finals, Los Angeles Lakers beat Philadelphia 76ers 100-86 in Game 5 to win back-to-back titles. Most valuable player, Shaquille O'Neal, the Diesel, for a second straight year. 2001 as well, Indian epic Lagan was directed by Ashutosh Gowarikar, starring Amir Khan and Gracie Singh. It premiered. 2 years later, in 2003, during the NBA Finals, San Antonio Spurs beat New Jersey Nets 88-77 in Game 6 for the franchise's second title. Most valuable player was Tim Duncan. Wow, look at that. 88, 7, 7, and 6. Yeah, that seems plain to me. 2005, Batman Begins, directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Christian Bale, Michael Caine, and Katie Holmes, goes on wide release. That's a good movie. 2015, Jeb Bush, governor of Florida, announced that he will run for the U.S. presidency in Miami. And he didn't win. Alright, 2015, the 800-year anniversary of, quote-unquote, the birthplace of modern democracy, the signing of the Magna Carta by King John at Runnymede, England. 800 years of democracy, you know? But too bad the next year it started to crumble. So, 7 years ago. Man. 2017, Scotland Yard launched criminal inquiry, and British Prime Minister Theresa May announced a public inquiry a day after the Grenfell Tower fire. Yeah. You know, how come that didn't collapse? That's weird. 2018, physicist Stephen Hawking's ashes were interred in Westminster Abbey, London, between the remains of Isaac Newton and Charles Darwin. Oh my god, that is awesome. Wow. I had no idea they did that. That is such honor right there. Wow. 2018, Theranos, the founder of Elizabeth Holmes, was charged with fraud over company's blood tests. Okay. Oh yeah, that's the, is she the one who's like a convicted felon or something? Or, no, like, scientific malfeasance or something? I don't know. Anybody who watches the show, you remember me like a couple weeks ago saying like, you know, like, scientific malfeasance or something. I don't know. Anyway, in 2019, the baseball jersey belonging to Babe Ruth became the most expensive sports memorabilia when it sold for $5.64 million at an auction in New York. Wow. Wow. 2020, just 2 years ago, Philippines journalist and Time Person of the Year, Maria Ressa, was found guilty of cyber libel in Manila amid claims charges politically motivated. Yeah, China, obviously going after that. And Time Magazine is controlled by the CCP. Everything is. I mean, look at everything, you know? And in 2021, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announced a return to life as we knew it, lifting all COVID-19 restrictions after the state passed 70% vaccinated with one dose. Wow, what a tyrant. You piece of fish. You piece of shit. Cuomo. Garbage. Anyway, jumping on into birth, starting in the year 1330, Edward the Black Prince of England died in 1376. 1479, Lisa del Friocondo was an Italian model and subject of the Mona Lisa, dying in 1542. 1519, Henry Fitzroy, 1st Duke of Richmond and Somerset, was an English politician who was a Lord Lieutenant of Ireland and died in 1536. Pardon me. 1645, Sidney Godolphin, 1st Earl of Godolphin, was an English politician and Lord of the Dolphins. Died in 1712. 1767, you know, did we know about dolphins in 1645? You know, like, let me look that up real quick. When were dolphins discovered? Come on, open up. There we go. When were dolphins discovered? A dolphin, okay, who was the first person to discover dolphins? There we go. Aristotle was the first to observe cetaceans in their environment and to write down and take notes of his observations. But apparently dolphins are 2,350 years old as far as knowing about them. Now, they've been around since before that, due to just being existing, you know. But yeah. Anyway, where was I? Let's see here. 1767, Rachel Jackson was the American wife of Andrew Jackson, dying in 1828. 1777, David Daniel Davis, Triple D, Welsh physician and academic, dying in 1841. 1805, William B. Ogden was born on this date. He was an American businessman and politician who was the first mayor of Chicago, dying in 1877. 1848, we have Gehivargihis Mar Gregorios of Parumala, was an Indian bishop and saint, dying in 1902. 1881, Kasago Nakajima was born on this date. He was a Japanese lieutenant general in the Imperial Japanese Army, dying in 1945, presumably during the war. 1911, Wilbert Awdry was an English author who created the Railway series, which was the basis for Thomas the Tank Engine. He died in 1997. I was 10 years old. 1918, Francois Tombalabé was a Chadian politician who was the first president of Chad, dying in 1975. What a Chad. Man. 1920, Sam Snyderman was a Canadian businessman who founded Sam the Record Man, dying in 2012. 19 years later, in 1939, Ward Connerly was born on this date. She is a U.S. activist and businessman, or he is a U.S. activist and businessman who founded the American Civil Rights Institute. 1942, Ian Greenberg is a Canadian broadcaster who founded Astral Media. AstraZeneca. 1946, Noddy Holder, that sounds wrong, is an English rock singer, songwriter, musician, and actor. 1949, Dusty Baker. Oh, is it covered in flour or something? Why are you so dusty? Like, get some lotion, your ashy ass elbow. He is a U.S. baseball player and manager. 1951, Jane Amsterdam is a U.S. magazine and newspaper editor, noted to be in Manhattan Inc. and the New York Post. 1953, Xi Jinping, the Chinese engineer and politician who is currently the General Secretary of the Communist Party and the President of the CCP. You know, that guy, Winnie the Pooh. What is he? AKA Winnie the Pooh. Yep, there we go. Yeah, a little weird that his birthday is one day after Donald Trump's, and you know, on the same stage one day after the birth of the U.S. Army. So, 1954, Jim Belushi, U.S. actor. So he's just 1 year older than Winnie the Pooh, but born on the same day. There's actually a couple people here, surprisingly, who was born on the same birthday. 1954 as well, we have Paul Rusesbagina, is a Rwandan humanitarian. 1962, Chris Morris, English actor, satirist, director, and producer. 1963, Helen Hunt, U.S. actress, director, and producer. That name's kind of familiar. As is this one, 1964, Courtney Cox, a U.S. actor and producer. 1965, Adam Smith, a U.S. lawyer and politician. 1969, Ice Cube, U.S. rapper, producer, and actor. And I know that's not his actual name, so I'm gonna look that up here real quick. Ice Cube. O'Shea Jackson Sr. Okay, O'Shea. Let's see here. AKA Ice Cube. Then we have 1973, Neil Patrick Harris has the same birthday with Xi Jinping. Like, isn't that crazy? He is a U.S. actor and singer, although that's, unnecessary. Everybody knows who he is. NPH, come on. Then 1973, we have Greg Vaughn, a U.S. actor and model, and was he related to Vince? Who's Greg? Greg Vaughn. Spouse, no children. Vaughn. It's not telling me anything. Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn. His children, siblings. Victoria Vaughn. So yeah, so this guy is not related to Vince. So let's see here. Not related to Vince. Okay, who else was born today? 1984, Tim Lincecum, U.S. baseball player. And 1992, Daphne Schlippers, Daphne Schlippers. It's like, get her your slippers. Saying slippers with a lisp. Dutch heptathlete and sprinter. Moving on up into deaths, was starting us off in 923. We have Robert I of France. He was born in 866. 948, Romanos I Lekapenos was a Byzantine emperor. His christening was 870. 952, Murong Yanchao was a Chinese general. Birth is unknown. 960, Eadburh of Winchester was an English princess and saint. Birth was unknown. 970, Adalbert, Bishop of Passau. Birth unknown. 991, Theophanu was the Byzantine wife of Otto II, Holy Roman Emperor. She was born in 960. 1337, Angelo di Clareno. There's too many eat words. Leet is the only eat word. Like that yeet shit? No. 1337, L-E-E-T, Leet. 1381, Watts Tyler, Watt. English rebel leader, born in 1341. Oh, looks like I missed, 1337, Angelo di Clareno, Italian Franciscan and leader of a group of the Fratelli, born in 1247. What is this? Let me look that up here real quick. The Fratelli, or spiritual Franciscans, opposed challenges to the rule of Saint Francis of Assisi, especially with regard to poverty, and regarded the wealth of the church as scandalous, and that of individual churchmen as invalidating their status. I have to agree with that. So, the Fratelli were declared heretical in 1296 by Boniface VIII. Oh, what a surprise. The guy sitting atop the golden throne is declaring, people being like, hey, you're being hypocritical, telling people to live within their means. Bunch of fucking children. 1383, John VI Kantakozenos was a Byzantine emperor. He was born in 1292. 1383 as well, Matthew Kantakozenos was also a Byzantine emperor, but his birth was unknown. That's a little weird. 1389, Milos Obilic, Serbian knight, birth unknown. 1614, Henry Howard, 1st Earl of Northampton, was an English courtier and politician who was a Lord Warden of the Cinque Ports. Was born in 1540. 1849, James K. Polk died on this date. He was an American lawyer and politician who was the 11th President of the United States of America. I had the comment go there. He was born in 1795. 1945, Count Albert von Menschdorf Pauli Dietrichstein was an Austrian diplomat, born unknown. Like, that is a little difficult to believe that we don't know when this guy was born. Born in 1861. So my source needs to update itself. 1967, Tato Kolemanianen was a Finnish runner, born in 1885. 1968, Sam Crawford, U.S. baseball player, coach, and umpire, was born in 1880. 1989, Ray McAnally. Hopefully that's not how he died to date. He was an Irish actor, was born in 1926. 1992, Chuck Menville, U.S. animator, producer, and screenwriter, was born in 1915. 1995, John Vincent Atanasoff, U.S. physicist and inventor of the Atanasoff Berry computer, was born in 1903. Let's take a look at this computer. The Atanasoff Berry computer was the first automatic electronic digital computer. Limited by the technology of the day and execution, the device had remained somewhat obscure. The ABC's priority is debated among historians of computer technology because it was neither programmable nor Turing complete. Whatever that is. I'm going to add this in the other bar. That's really interesting. So that is a non-programmable analog computer that processes digital information. I think. I don't know. 1996, Sir Fitzroy Maclean, 1st Baronet, died on this date. He was a Scottish general and politician. He was born in 1911. 1996, Dick Murdoch, U.S. wrestler, was born in 1946. 2002, Choi Hong Hai, South Korean general and martial artist who founded Taekwondo, born in 1918. I know Kung Fu, hee-ho. 2006, Raymond Devos, Belgian-French comedian and clown, born in 1922. Not the only clown. I'm a clown. 2014, Casey Kasem was a U.S. radio host, producer, and voice actor who created American Top 40. He was born in 1932. Producer. Okay. 2014, Moise Chafra was a Brazilian businessperson and philanthropist who co-founded Banco Safra. And in 2015, Kirk Kerkorian died on the States. He was a U.S. businessman who founded the Trascienda Corporation. And that concludes the show. Once again, you can check the underbar in the description for any links that you may be interested in, which also includes Sohen's Twitch, Muffin's YouTube, everything else Omni Coalition, anything we've gathered throughout the show, as I said before that. Anyway, for your dose of Past Fence Daily, we stream every day at 10 in the morning Pacific Time, which is noon Central Time, and apparently, what was it, 8 in the morning Italian Time? I don't know. I don't even remember. We figured it out kind of yesterday, I think. I don't know. And wow, you can really see like where I get sun and where I don't. Anyway, for all of you and all of us, I am Xander, and you are you. And until you see us tomorrow, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Until then, toodles. Let's go, Brandon.